Richy wants Spurs stay. Now, before we start discussing it, with these, I've brought up the tweets that have been released. Now, I've taken them from Last Word on Spurs. Let me just make sure I bring up Richy, not Dyer. I think that's Richy. There we go. Yeah. So this is from the Footy Insider. Last Word on Spurs just did what a lot of people do and just retweet it and reword it. But apparently Tottenham Hotspur are expected to reject any January offers for Richarlison amid interest from the Saudi Pro League as they want to retain the Brazilian service. Richarlison is determined to remain in the Premier League amid link with a Saudi. Now, before I throw this open to you both, and I'll go to you first, Bobby, I'm going to bring this back up again. Understand it from the Tottenham's point in here, but you know what? I think it could be a play on words, it could be anything, but I don't think Richarlison rules out a switch like a loan move here. That doesn't say Richarlison wants to stay at Spurs and prove himself. That says Richarlison is determined to remain in the Premier League. So I don't know if there's been a sniff. Obviously, Everton, we don't know what's going on with them. But I don't know. I mean, Bobby, what do you make out of that tweet?
You know what's funny? I swear.
I just realized it cuts me out perfectly and has you two.
Yeah, we can see your arms, though. It's like you're Richy right now. You know, it's funny, Brian. I swear you're finding ways to push my buttons when you bring me on these shows and expose my dark side. Screw you, Richy. You know, I wish I was surrounded by a bunch of busty brunettes. Life isn't that way. We can't have everything we want to have. You have had ample opportunity to come on and at least show us something. Over and over and over, you've shown us nothing. Over and over, you've showed us how inept you really are at playing pretty much any position we try to put you in. Is it your fault? Is it manager fault? Is it this injury that you carried? I don't know. Is it the head thing that's going on with you? I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned at this point, if we can recoup the money that we paid out for him, I would snatch it up in a heartbeat because we can invest that into Ange players then. And the way it looks is Ange isn't the guy that wants 60, 80 million pound players. So that if we can get that 60 million back or 50, as David Clark educated me with the other day, it's 50 plus add-ons, right? So if we can recoup the 50, I would be even happy with that. And I think that in for Ange could potentially even be 2 players. So for me, I'm you know me, Brian. Both of you actually have said it to both of you. I've held on hope. I even held hope for Ndombele. I'm at the point now where with this kid, I'm kind of fed up because I just find that this injury now, this hip thing is very convenient. I'm not buying it. It's really, really infuriating to me.
Well, there you go. Before I go to you, Ireland, just want to say, first of all, 2 things. Big up to Minerals. I hope... I would have without a doubt, but big up Minerals, brother. I hope you're good. And Bill, love you, mate. Absolutely love you. You're a top guy, but I'm trying to work this out. Please help me sleep, guys. Now, if we send you to sleep, are we boring you? Is it you've gone to sleep happy? Is it... Let's have a look. Let's see what Bill thinks.
Well, maybe he's wound up right now. He needs us to bring him some peace of mind.
Maybe I can't believe it. But the 3 of us, maybe not me, actually, the 2 of you have very soothing voices.
I don't know what you're talking about, Brian.
Yeah, you, Isla, we know that you and your voice.
I don't know what you're saying, Brian.
My voice, especially when I'm mid-rant, is definitely not soothing. But Bill, I hope you're good, brother. Island, back to Richarlison.
Yeah, can you bring up the tweet? I just kind of want to address both of the paragraphs because there's 2 different sort of bits about them. Right?
Again, I've got to go through it. That's Richarlison.
There it is. Yeah, so expected to reject.
You just wanted me out of the shot, didn't you? That's all you wanted.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I just want to see Richie's bone structured face. No, it's In regards to offers for Richarlison, I mean, in Spurs rejecting it, I think that's probably because just from a fitness perspective, we'd have to replace him, and replacing a player like that, even if he hasn't come good, is not going to be an easy thing to do. So you keep him in the squad until the summer, and then you try to get some money for him, and maybe he has a better second half of the season post injury.
Before you go to the second paragraph, I just want to ask you about that.
Yeah,
do you reckon that could also be they're expected to reject any January offers because it will be nowhere near the market or the valuation Tottenham Hotspur
It depends on where that offer comes from, right? I mean, obviously, if the offer's from Saudi, the money will be there. Like they're going to offer probably what we paid for him or somewhere around that, I would imagine. We're not going to get remotely close to that 50 million if we sell him. Like he's a dud, and that means inevitably, if we go to sell him, he's probably worth 25, 30 right now. Just from a form perspective, he's not good enough to pay that type of money. In regards to term to remain in the Premier League, of course he is. Like he wants to prove himself. He has had good seasons, or he's had good form in certain seasons for Everton where he's played pretty well. Like he single-handedly kept them up 2 seasons ago, so he deserves credit for that. But I don't know. It's for me. It's one of those prepare for January madness tweets. Let's get some paper talk going, some Twitter talk going, and have a chat about Richie's future. I don't see him going in January. I don't think we'll sell valuable players in January. I think that's just something that doesn't happen very often. Certainly, you can bring in players. You can get lucky and get a good player in January, but selling a big player when you've got injury problems already doesn't seem like a smart thing to do. I can't see Ange doing it.
All right, but let me ask you just yes or no to these questions, or this question to both of you. That second paragraph where I said he wants to stay in the Premier League. From those, and obviously this is blurbage from a source, or from a reminder, an ITK. It could be leaked, whatever. But would you think? I mean, obviously people want to stay in the Premier League and prove themselves. Do you think, just from what your impressions, that Richarlison would be open to a low move to try and get his groove back or his mojo back in the Premier League if one became available? And I'll go to you first, Ireland.
No.
Okay, you're going for no. Bobby?
I think it'd be stupid not to, so I'd say yes.
Because if you look at it, the way I'm looking at it now,
I wasn't allowed to say why, so I didn't say.
Sorry. Okay.
Yes or no answer. It was only a yes or no answer.
My English is not so good, man.
No, the reason being is I just think I just don't. He's a really ego player, right? And he like you can tell from a confidence perspective. He's going to feel like a failure if he goes to another club on loan, and that probably makes him worse. Then I don't see him getting better because he goes on loan. I see him getting better if he proves himself. He may get sold to another team in the summer, and that's a different scenario. But going out on loan is it's kind of like you're not good enough right now, so we're going to just shove you over here and make a bit of money. And he's a superstar. He was Brazil's number 9 up until his form faltered. So from an ego perspective, I think he says no. I think he wants to prove himself, and he'll want to stay at Spurs to do that.
Okay, because I'm convinced he will go out on loan. If not, he will. As in, he's going in January. I think if Everton came in for him, where he can go back to where he's loved, where he did have good times. I'm not just saying Everton is the obvious connection. Obviously, that's me 2 and 2 together, thinking I've got 4, but probably
he doesn't want to go back to Everton. That's a downgrade for him. Think about his ego.
It's regular first team football. It's guaranteed regular first team football. Guaranteed.
He's got guaranteed football at Spurs if he fucking plays well. So
regarding his ego, Ireland, I think he might want to go and prove himself too, right? And that
he wants to prove himself at the highest level. Going back to Everton is going down a level.
I'm getting at.
He's not going to want to play in the same league.
If you look at it,
it's down a level.
He goes out alone. Let's say in Everton or whoever it may be. If we look at Tottenham Hotspur right now, up front, it's Heung-min Son if he's fit. Obviously, probably I'd say Valise is ahead of him. A striker right now, if he's fit. If Richarlison's fit, I would say
Richarlison's playing off the left. He's a left-sided forward.
Okay, so if you go on the left, there's Brennan Johnson, Brian Hill, Kulisevsky.
He's in front of Hill, so it's only Johnson, really.
Joe, I don't know. I wouldn't say it.
Well, we haven't even seen Hill this season, so
no. When is Solomon? When is Solomon back?
Really?
Yep, there's another one. Solomon.
When is he back?
He got injured, I think,
it was like 8 weeks or something when he got hurt, wasn't it?
He'll be coming back soon, I think, probably.
Yes, he's probably back New Year. He's probably back after Christmas. There's another one on the left.
Okay.
Then you look on the right, you can then say, so there's Hill, Solomon, and possibly Johnson. Then on the right, there's Decky, Johnson. Up front, there is Hill, Richard, Son, Valise.
He's in front of Valise. I'm sorry. I just think he is. I just think from From a
I
form
don't.
perspective, maybe
Okay,
not. But
23 people. There's 23 people in the chat right now. All I want from the 23 is right now.
is Brian right or not?
No. I want to know after
What's Brian?
Well, I'm in Ireland today, so
After Sonny, who do you think right now, if everyone was fit, would be Ange's second striker?
it's
That's
for me.
just their thought. This doesn't mean it's right. I would think that Valise, who is an out-and-out striker,
Valise is playing in the under-21s, man. He's not ready to.
That's not what I'm saying. I still think he's ahead.
I know, but here's what I'm trying. Here's what I'm attempting to try to make a point. If Sonny gets injured and we need a 9, Valise doesn't come in and play before Richie does as a 9. Richie's going to play. I mean, I think that would be crazy. I'm not saying I don't like Valise is doing it, but I just don't think he's ready, and I don't think Ange thinks he's ready yet. We've got a player in Richarlison who's got experience in that position, can play it well if the system's working for him. He's 100% in front of Valise for me.
All right. Well. First of all, right now it looks like you're winning.
Yeah, I gotta. If I can vote, I vote with Richie as well.
Hey, we got smart subscribers on our channel. Thanks, folks.
So fair play. Bob, you're going Richie as well.
I am. Yeah. If when you put it that way, if you say if Son is injured, and one of those two have to start for the next 4 to 6 games,
it's going to be Richie.
Then for me, yeah, I would definitely say Richie.
So let's
experience-wise.
That is interesting. We'll see if that could happen. Who knows what's going to happen in January? But we've got a super chat from a very good supporter of the channel, Michael.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it,
Michael.
Thank you.
Richarlison is a liability. We need ruthless management. 60 million for a 20 million pound player. Time to finish the clean out. Valise is ready.
So, Michael, I want to ask you this because I wonder how somebody knows Valise is ready. We've seen him off the bench, twice in 10 minutes of football? How do we know that Valise is ready to take a full-time striker position at a top club that wants to finish top 4? We don't.
No, but what I will say to this, and this is where...
But thanks for the $5, Michael.
What you got to say, listen, it's a great point to make, but what you've got to look at as well is every team have their youth products, and you don't know till you bring them in. You do not know until you bring them in. It's very easy us saying
there's like betting a player in because they're young and they need time on the pitch, and you slowly do it, or you play them in cups. And then there's chucking an 18-year-old or 19-year-old because Sonny's injured for the rest of the season or for 2 months or whatever to try to make sure that you finish top 4. Those are very different situations, and Richie has experience, I think, in being in a difficult situation like that, which he did at Everton and single-handedly kept him up. So the quality's there to do it. He's got the experience, whereas Valise, we don't know, and I feel like that's a massive risk that I can't see the club taking or Ange taking.
Just want to say big up to Mr. 57 Screens.
Yeah, what's up, Wayne?
Wayne, I hope you're good, mate. I hope all is well. Who else has joined? Jamie is here. Ironically, Richarlison is a better defender than Dyer, and Dyer's a better striker than Richarlison. Maybe they should switch up. Mate, could you imagine? Well, mate, I don't know if people remember, and it will show my age. Back in the day, we're talking Sheffield Wednesday, when Blackburn were up there with Jack Walker's money. Sheffield Wednesday had a defender called Paul Warhurst, who they then changed into a striker, and he became like a 25-goal-a-season striker. Chris Sutton used to be a defender, and then Norwich moved him up front. But believe me, I'm not saying we should try this with Eric Dyer, and Eric Dyer is now going to become our saviour. But there's crazier things.
Yeah, that's starting to get a little silly here. Off topic a little bit.
I'm getting quite concerned. I'm losing this. Oh no, Michael joined me. So for every... I've got one vote. But you know what?
You got $5 out of it, so.
But you know what? When I was on Leo's show earlier, the great Donna Cullen was in the chat and was saying, and I love it, especially when she goes Wagwan Brian or Wagwan whoever's in there. It just makes me laugh thinking she's saying that. But we're joking about in there. She's like, once I've got Levy out and I become chairman, I'll buy you any striker you want. Realistically. So I asked everyone, I know who my striker would be. If you could realistically, and I'll go to you first, Bobby.
Thanks.
Let's just say January or summer. Let's say summer because we know January's hard, yada. And you're going to get the striker of your choice. And don't go wild with some of these £300-400 players or £200 million players. Who would you go for?
Leo turned me on to this kid that I started watching a few videos of. Jay's a really big fan of him. I like that. Is it Santi? Is his first name Jimenez?
Yep, the one in PSV. Oh no, PSV. I think he's at.
Yeah, he's in Holland.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
PSV.
trying to remember what team. I think it is PSV.
He's quick. He's big. Can head the ball. Seems to be decent with both feet. I'd probably go with That's if it's the same one, then his first name's Santi, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
Is it Santi, Jay? That kid that you were saying is it PSV he's on? Yeah,
Ireland.
That's the one?
Yeah, I'd probably go with somebody that is a younger player that can play in a high pace sort of match. Evan Ferguson from Brighton.
My boy. That's exactly.
I feel like this type of striker he fits right into our system, and he's prolific.
He's expensive though, isn't he? Is he going to be a fortune?
It'd be about 80, 90 million. But put it this way, people are talking like
this Jimenez kid's like 30, 40, no?
Yeah,
I don't know if he's I don't know if he's 80, 90 million yet.
So that's what Brighton's talking. But put it this way, what
I already rated like crazy expensive.
But he's a 19-year-old kid. Or 20, I think he is now.
20. I think he just turned 20 or something like that.
Tearing it up, has got bags of potential. And they're talking about Ivan Toney at 100. Obviously, he's not going to go for 100. Brentford have just
look what Jazz just put in. 150 to open.
Well, yeah. So, oh, wait. Do you know what? There's a great shout. There's another great
good
shout.
one. I thought
Ollie Watkins, but we'll talk about this because it's a topic coming up in the show. But Villa are right there with us. They're not getting rid of their star striker.
Oh, yeah, this is just.
But if you could have him, 100%. I love Ollie Watkins.
That's what we're saying. That's what the conversation is right now. Not who we should get, who you would if you had the opportunity to go out and buy someone.
It's still pick Ferguson.
I
just think his dynamism is fantastic.
And you look at his age compared to Tony. Yeah, Tony's got more experience. Tony's got the more goals. Tony's
character is problematic for me. That's what I'm not a fan of. So
yeah, you got that. But I mean, I would 100% go for him. Just Fusion is saying Ollie Watkins is perfect. You know what? Yeah. Well, we could have had him, but we know what happened there. But yeah, so right now, let's just bring this back to Richarlison before we go on to the second subject, which I think we're going to all be agreeing on quite a bit more. Richarlison, let's just say, comes back in the second half of the season, stays at Tottenham by the sounds of it, and doesn't go on loan. Does he turn it around in these 6 months? Does he get game time? Does he finally, after the injuries, because now we know it was his pelvis, then we've had the mental health issue, which this channel and Bobby, something mental health is very, very important to this channel. And others, we commended him big time for coming out and saying what he said, and more people should be doing it. If he's got away from the mental health or seeking help and getting the help he needs for the mental health aspect of things, then we find out, like Sonny last year with the groin injury, or whatever, I think it was groin injury with Sonny, that it's now a pelvic issue and that's been resolved. Does Richarlison turn it around in these 6 months, or do we sell him in the summer? Bobby, you first. No, you're gone.
So I'm just saying good night to little K here. He just came to say good night. Good night, buddy.
Good night, lads.
Good night,
say, buddy. Ciao, ciao.
There you go.
So Bobby,
for me, it all kinds of comes down to why is he still here? If he's left here because Ange has said no, I can use him. I do need him to the end of the summer at least. Let's see. Let's give him a crack. I think I can get something out of him. Then 100% I'm behind the player. If that's what Ange's decision is, then so be it. If he's left here because we couldn't get the money that we wanted, and we couldn't get the deal we wanted, and he's left kind of just to rot around and sit around, then no, I don't want him here. It's going to affect his mentality even further then. So it really comes down to what Ange wants. And if the manager thinks that he can provide something to us, is going to offer something to us as a whole, then of course, whoever he's got sitting there on the bench, in the squad, on the field, I'm going to support.
So first of all, if I go to you, Alan, Amir, I can see I'd love Vlahovic, but that's just not going to happen. His wages, that's just not happening. Especially
he's starting to do well now, isn't he?
Yeah, but the thing is, at the moment, what's her name? I don't know if I've seen you in the chat before. Maybe I have, but if I haven't, welcome to
I feel like he was on last time we streamed, but maybe I could be wrong.
So yeah,
I hope
could be wrong. I don't know.
Subscribed and enjoying the content we're putting out. Like I said, we're going to be more often. But Gift Orban, that name's fallen off a cliff, hasn't it?
He's also been shit in the league. He's only scored like 3 goals or something. He's like fallen off a cliff since that deal didn't happen.
Spotlight went on him. Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
I love this comment from Jethro. Richie can't do any worse, so I'm thinking he turns it around. Ireland, what we were coming to? What were you?
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be as much as that he's going to be the player we all want him to be for the money that we paid. I think that expectation is gone. I do see him improving quite a bit, and I think that will come with time. Whether that's enough for most Spurs fans, probably not, because we're a fickle bunch. I see him turning around enough. I think he'll get some assists. I think he'll score a couple of goals. Arguably, for what we paid for him and what we expect from that player, that we supposed to be our new number 9. You expect probably 15 plus goals. He's probably going to get 6 or 7, I think, and that's not enough. So if we're talking about whether he turns it around, I'd say he turns it around somewhat, and he'll do okay. But I think he'll need to go in the summer. But I think he'll stay for that period of time, and have an opportunity to. And he'll be given his chances, but he'll have to perform, like you said, because there's a lot of players on that left hand side that can come in and play, and he has to compete. So he has to do something. He has to perform. He's had good games where he's played really well. He's just not getting numbers right. He's got a couple of assists. His defensive play is really good, wins the ball back up high. Unfortunately, his first touch is crap, so that's why he can't play as a 9 right now. But his passing is good, and he's doing some good things. So I think he'll come goodish, if I'm going to be specific, but not the player that we all expect.
Yeah, you know what? Like I said, what I noticed is his first half he was playing really, really well, and then second half he just went to absolute pot, unfortunately. But you know what? When I was mentioning loans and him not staying, like when I said maybe he's open, from what I was interpreting from that text, true story, that's a team that could do with a striker. Not saying it would happen, but I mentioned Everton. But when you look at it, if there's a team that needs a striker after losing Mitrovic,
they're desperate for a finisher, for sure.
Jimenez isn't doing it. Vinicius ain't really getting much game time.
Well, we know why.
That could be a big shout.